it's absolutely central to us that sustainability and responsibility are part of what we do. What it means is we're making sure that everything we buy, so every component, every ingredient we buy, doesn't have a negative impact on the planet. And that impact can be things that we don't expect. So if we're buying a vitamin ingredient from somewhere, we want to make sure that if that's come from a crop of plant, that crop is replaced. We want to make sure that any natural extracts we get aren't harvested in a way that's killing local wildlife or upsetting a local habitat. So that's what we mean by sustainability. We want to know that anything that we take is being put back responsibly and some. When it comes to fish, fishing practices have been in the news a lot over the years, and in fact, unsustainable fishing practices and concerns about toxicity with fish are two of the main reasons we got involved with Opti3. Fishing practices, in my opinion, I can't speak for everybody, but can be inhumane. And we know it can be damaging to our oceans. Fish stocks have been at record lows, which has a massive impact on the local ecosystem. And it's not far-fetched to say it has a massive impact on the planet. If we overfish, it reduces or changes the pH of the water in the sea. That can ultimately kill phytoplankton. And people think of trees producing oxygen for the planet. 50% of the oxygen from our planet is produced by phytoplankton. So to say that overfishing will affect the planet is probably understatement of the century. So when we talk about ethics or sustainability, our view is simple. If we can get the nutrients that we normally get from fish without touching the fish, why not? Of course we should. So for Opti3, the vegan omega-3, we're getting all of those benefits. We don't touch the fish. It's good for the planet. It's sustainable. It's more ethical. It's just better all round. Yes, we do. All of our packaging is recyclable, and it's genuinely recyclable. So what we make sure by that is it's not just a token gesture, and we use a material that is very rarely, like 5% of it gets recycled. We make sure that the bottle, it's a HDPE bottle that we use. We make sure that is readily recycled. We use 100% biodegradable packing chips. So when you get the box, you get the little chips, and they're normally made of polystyrene. Well, ours aren't. They're made of starch. And that's because they litter the environment, and they're notoriously bad in terms of biodegrading. So by using a starch alternative, we're creating no negative impact on the planet. We're often asked, why don't we use fully recycled material? And it's a really difficult one for us because, firstly, it's imperative to us that our packaging adequately protects the product that we're selling to you. So if we sell a bottle of tablets or capsules, we want to make sure that it will perform when you get it home. And some of the biodegradable bottles that are said to be as good as plastics, at the moment they're just not. So what we're finding is the product isn't stable, or the pack's falling apart. We don't use glass because it's prone to shatter. Again, I would hate the idea of someone taking one of our products home and having a shard of glass within the product. It horrifies me. It's also very heavy. If we can ever get to a stage where we can use glass where we're satisfied, we will most certainly do that. But at this stage, we're not quite there on that. As for recycled materials, there's a bit of a hypocrisy at times. So we do use cardboard boxes, and we use sustainably sourced cardboard. Recycled cardboard goes through some horrendous chemical processing to get it back to being used. It's got chlorine cleansing the lot. So I could sit here and probably get a few ticks in the box by using recycled cardboard, but I would sit here knowing it's worse for the environment than the cardboard that we use. So I hope it's a bit of a long answer, but what I can say to everybody is the environment and the impact is massively important to us. We do everything we can, and we don't use any materials without very, very close consideration. Absolutely. We will never use genetically modified materials. We get every supplier that we use to sign declarations, and every supplier we use is independently audited to make sure that's the case. No, but where we can use organic and where it's relevant, we do. But there are some of the things we use can't be organic because of how we produce them. So the biggest example is our omega-3. Because it's not grown in the ground and because it's not taken from the sea, we can't get it organically certified. But by nature, it couldn't be more organic because nothing goes in, no pesticides, no nothing. It's purer than is possible by something grown in the ground. It's purer than is possible by something taken from the sea. But the organic certification companies, they won't engage in it because obviously they've got a vested interest in things from the ground or from the sea. It's the same with certain plants that we get grown in commercial greenhousing, which we do because we don't want to upset local habitats. But again, that's not classed as organic by some certifiers, even though grown in those other locations will upset a habitat, it will kill local wildlife, it's classed as organic. We hate that hypocrisy. So I'm giving a bit of a long answer, but in short, if organic is relevant, we will do it and we use it. But the reason we don't talk about organic is it's irrelevant to certain things we do, but much of what we do goes way, way beyond organic. Everything's made in the same way, in the same place, apart from Opti3. So we make everything ourselves in the UK under our supervision, and we do that so we can control everything. We don't have the ability to make the capsule that is used for Opti3. It's made at a specialist location in the UK. It's down in South Wales. It's a company we get on very, very well with. They've got that expertise. We go and visit. We check that very closely in terms of quality and purity. But yeah, apart from that, everything's done in-house at our facility. Also from the UK, so we distribute from a fulfilment warehouse in Liverpool in the northwest of the UK, which goes all over the world. Great care is taken in terms of looking after the products and making sure the right products go to the right places. And again, we do that locally to reduce the carbon footprint. We want to make sure as much is done locally to us as possible. I think concerns about Fukushima are absolutely valid, and I don't think we know the half of the extent of the damage that will have caused, because it's not only to that immediate area. Of course, a lot of this was in the sea, that whether it's just sea plant life or sea life itself, fish and such like, moving to other areas, it's a huge problem. To answer the question, we absolutely do not buy anything that is from that region that could go into our food products. And when I say that region, I mean for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles away. And if it's a risk ingredient, such as something that would come from the sea, like a seaweed that might be used in the capsule, we make sure it's from Europe. So it can't ever have possibly been contaminated, even through transit, in terms of Fukushima. So very, very good question. Something we work very closely with our suppliers to understand in full. The main way we do that with the carbon footprint is to do as much as we can locally. So we buy ingredients locally, we produce in-house, we get the packaging bought locally. It's just so that we're not buying something from overseas, something from over continents, and having unnecessary shipping. So really the only time our products or the components in our products are subject to a ship or an aeroplane or a van or a truck is when they're going from our warehouse to you, the consumer. So the carbon footprint is a big part of that. And as I say, we work very carefully to make sure we can do as much as we can locally. We want to reduce the need for transport in our processes and our supply chains. Packaging wise, it's a massive concern generally. So we're always working with suppliers. We go to trade fairs all over to just try and understand where the industry is going in terms of reducing the use of plastics or single-use products. So yes, climate change is massively important. And of course, down to the product design, one of the reasons we designed Opti3 was because it will help reduce climate change by moving from fish to non-fish omega-3. We're getting more fish in the sea. More fish in the sea means more ideal conditions for phytoplankton to grow. more phytoplankton, more oxygen for the planet. Phytoplankton produces over 50% of the oxygen for this planet. So there's a definite knock-on effect into how we try and develop our products.